Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to our special edition of the Finance Rebel Show. You know, the one we do every Saturday, which we call Wealthy Conversations or Wealth Conversations. Today's going to be a great show. Going to be talking to somebody that's going to be a little bit different, right? Going to be talking about sneaker flipping and sneaker investing today with a good friend of mine by the name of Darren Miller. So Darren will be joining us in a little bit. But as we do every week, every Saturday, we do a market recap. Now, I'm running a little late. I had some technical difficulties, so just give me one moment while I set up and share this out everywhere. Michael Dennis got on here early. How you doing, bro? Good morning. Good morning. Everybody that's watching, check in. Good morning to you all. Let me know how you've been going, how you've been doing, how's your week been coming. And Darren, how are you, sir? How's your trading coming this week? You buy anything new, anything sexy, make any money? That's the most important thing, right? But talk to me, folks. What's going on? You seen anything good this week? So while I'm setting up, I do want to say one thing though. I saw that it wasn't a friend of mine, right? But it was a lady I admired. She was called the Six-Figure Chick. Cece was her name. And I saw she passed this week. But, you know I talk a lot about a lot of these online gurus, a lot of these online business coaches, but I always felt Cece was the truth. So I just want to send a rest in peace or rest in power out to her. Hopefully your family is doing well. Send my prayers and my sympathies as well. This whole year or this last 6 months of Corona has been absolutely crazy, in my opinion. And now I'm setting up on Instagram. But these last 6 months of Corona have been absolutely crazy. I can't tell you how many people have died that have been close to me. It's been something to behold. And definitely all this time sitting and witnessing people passing has definitely had me reevaluate life. Reevaluate the importance of friendship, reevaluate the importance of family. Just really thinking about what's really important in life. And I know I'm the finance rebel and I talk about money all the time, but there are things that are bigger than money. Everybody on Instagram, Kitchen CJ32, how are you? Tad Nicole, hey, how you been? And so, I would just tell everybody to grab your loved ones, give them a hug if you can. If you can't, do a social distance, fist pump. But let them know that you care about them because life ain't certain. Life is not certain. And I'm not trying to start this off on a somber note because life or death is a part of life. However, I think sometimes we take life for granted. We get into these stupid arguments online. We get into stupid arguments offline. And I don't think we really are conscious and think about, does it even matter at the end of the day? But, again, that's all I had. That was my thought about that. So I just wanted to put that in the air. Lady Diva 727, how are you? Righty. So Darren said, what's up? Tiffany Thompson said, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you, Tiffany. So Dorian, are you saying you made 46% in this week? Is that real money? Is that paper trading? So you said I'm ready to start on the ground up from some stuff. Like what? What are you talking about? All is well, Lady Diva. All is well. I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed that you're here. You know, another just another beautiful day in the neighborhood. So I'm happy. I'm happy. No complaints. No complaints at all. Oh, paper trading. All right. Paper trading. Paper trading is good. Paper trading is good to get down to basics. Paper trading is good to get down to overall mechanics, but it's nothing like investing your own dough. So don't let the paper trading give you false paper muscles. All right. Dorian, what do you trade? What do you trade? Mid-Atlantic, how are you? Started on Forex. I'm curious, why Forex? Forex is one of the fastest markets out there. So you're a working mechanic, FDA approved, 75%. I'm not sure about that last part. FDA approved, 75%. Are you talking about an FDA? Well, FDA is Federal Drug Administration. So we talking about drugs? We talking about food? What exactly are we talking about? Let me know. Let me know. Listen, I didn't get a chance to do Wealthy Wednesdays. So if anybody has any questions for the week, by the way, I apologize for missing, but I was working on some stuff. So I'm kind of top secret in the lab. I'll let you all know what I'm working on once I get done. But um, I'm kind of top, like I said, I'm top secret in the lab. I don't want to share it just yet, but I apologize for missing Wednesday. I might miss a Wednesday or Saturday here and there throughout August or September, but I'll let you know in advance. All right, so let's see. Dorian, did you check in yet? So you look at stocks when the earnings reports come out. So Dorian, I'm going to let you know that's probably the worst time to invest in stocks. And what I mean by that is a lot of people try to trade around earnings reports, and that's cool. But you can never truly predict what's going to happen. And so kind of looking to get entry, you know, the day of or the day before or the day after earnings report can be really risky. So I know you're just starting out. I would not start there. You can look at them, right? You can definitely pay attention, but I would not make that a major staple in trading to start off with. I've seen a lot of people get robbed that way. And you being the mechanic, I'm sure you work hard for your money. Dominic, what's up, Karanja? Psycho DTM, what's up, Darren? How y'all doing? Oh, okay. So you're working on you're looking at FDA approved drugs for COVID companies or pharmaceutical companies that are making COVID products. Gotcha. Gotcha. I tend to stay away from those because again, the FDA is like God when it comes to pharmaceuticals. Um, Again, you can't tell the predictability of them. For me, especially early stage, especially when it comes to biotechs. Phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, it's only for 15 minutes. Get in and get out. Okay. All right. Okay, that's not the long term. I'm working my so you're working your mechanics of being disciplined. Yes, I will say that's a good thing to do. One of the best things to do because the biggest thing you can do to be an investor or a trader, right? For those who don't know, investors typically buy for the long term. Everybody knows I promote investing for the long term because I'm speaking to beginners. Trading is usually for the short term. intraday, day trades, intra-week trades, months, and usually less than a year. Now, there's a couple of reasons I don't promote trading to beginners. One of the reasons why I don't promote trading to beginners is because money causes emotions. Money brings out emotions in everyone, and so when you put your money on the line to get into a trade, you have to have really, really good emotional IQ or emotional intelligence. I find that I'm not talking about anyone specifically, but I find people in generally don't have good emotional intelligence, and it takes a while to get a hold of. So that's why I'm not a real big proponent of trading. Secondly, the tax code is not in favor of trading. You pay a higher tax rate on trades. Now, again, if you make money, cool. I am not anti-trading. I just believe there's an order of things that you should do. It's like walking, right? Or let's say, like driving a car. When you first get your license, you shouldn't drive NASCAR, right? That's a recipe in disaster. You can do it. You might get lucky and do well, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to crash, and that crash is going to hurt somebody. Most likely hurt you. Me, Master, how are you? Thank you for joining. Jack, the first 3, how are you? Welcome to our Saturday Wealth Conversation. So, again, you're right. It's all about discipline. It's all about discipline. But let's run down on these markets real quick, y'all. Looking at CNN's dashboard right here. So the most popular stocks of the week were Apple. Everybody's still excited about Apple. Apple is now trading at $459.87. That is a big jump from where it started, where it first announced its 4-for-1 stock split. Remember, if you don't get in by the 24th, if you are interested in their stock split, if you don't buy by the 24th, you will not be able to take advantage of it. So, if that's something you're into, be sure to look at it. And Tesla just announced their 5-for-1 stock split. So with Apple, they did a 4-for-1. Tesla did a 5-for-1. Sounds kind of petty, but it is what it is. Big Bear 79, how are you? So General Electric used to be a Dow Jones participant, no longer in there. They've been struggling, and they closed the week out at $6.66. I'm not going to get biblical on folks, but y'all know what that number means. Google closed at $1,503.23. Google's still running. Microsoft closed the week out at $208.89. Man. So Microsoft's been running. The market's been running. The market has basically been driven by the tech sector. Now, here's some other stats, right? I want you to pay attention to. So the 10-year yield talks about the federal 10-year bond. It's now at 0.71%. So as bond yields go lower, bond prices get higher. And the fact that the bonds are lower means that people have been buying them. And in times of uncertainty, people buy bonds. In times of uncertainty, people buy gold, right? We see gold is up. Gold closed at an all-time high, $1,953.70. So gold's running, bonds running, and stocks are still running. Year to date, the NASDAQ is up about, I want to say 20%. All the other major indexes are kind of flat. That tells you that it's still a tech market. By the way, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention, but Fortnite is getting into this big battle with Apple and with Google because Fortnite doesn't want to pay the tax, that street tax that Apple and Google imposes. So they said, the hell with them. So that story, that Fortnite story, is going to be very, Very interesting. Now, the other thing I find interesting as well is oil. Oil's up, closed at $42.23. So y'all remember oil dropped viciously earlier on in the year, and now it's made a great comeback. But I don't foresee oil going up too much higher, at least not to now, to the end of the year, excuse me. So it's going to be interesting. So Lady Diva 727 asks, how do you benefit buying before the split or after? You don't. The investment price or the overall investment is still going to be the same. The difference is you'll get more shares, right? So if you buy now, so here's the thought, and this goes for Tesla or for Apple. The thought is that people won't buy the shares as much because it's such a high price. So as the price goes down, it becomes more attractive. So Tesla right now is uber expensive. Let's see how much Tesla is. Oops, put an extra S in it. Didn't mean to do that. Tesla right now is uber expensive. I think it's in the 1,400-ish range, 1,500-ish range. People won't buy that. But once it splits 5 for 1, you know, let me actually find out what Tesla's price is. Anybody know what Tesla's price is? Put it in the chat for me. But I'm sure I can find it real fast. So, Tesla right now is $1,615, $1,650.71. So if you divide that by 5, Tesla's price will be about $330. So when you get to $330, that's more sexy in terms of investing than $1,650. So it'll probably attract more people to Tesla. It'll probably attract more people to Apple. Apple will probably split the 4 for 1 around $120 as opposed to $400. So it just makes it sexy. But I tell y'all, price don't matter no more. Price does not matter anymore as it relates to overall investments. Why? Because we have fractional shares, which means you can buy a portion of a share. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm fine with it because I can take $1, for example. I literally bought $1 of Apple. And guess what? My $1 is now more. So instead of spending my $1 on something else frivolous, something else that's not going to make any money, I bought a piece of stock with it. Right? I bought $10 worth of Amazon back in November. That $10 is now, I haven't looked, but it's somewhere between 14 and $15. 40% increase, right? Now, there's also a likelihood of that money not making money, by that money depreciating in value. But I've given myself an opportunity to make money by buying fractional shares. And part of the reason why I bought fractional shares is to show all of you all that it's possible to do it. Starbucks, right? It kind of all started off with Starbucks. We were talking during a live, and I said, well, just think. A lot of people spend $25 a week on Starbucks. Easy, right? $5 a day. So instead of spending your $25 in Starbucks, just being a straight consumer, you can invest in Starbucks and now become an investor. Listen, nobody becomes wealthy, nobody becomes rich just by buying things that never appreciate in value. If you want to become wealthy, if you want to amass wealth, you got to buy things that appreciate in value. So, I mean, that kind of goes back to today's, the core of today's show when I had my conversation with Darren Miller. He buys sneakers. He sells sneakers. Now, for me, something I'm not going to do. My son used to do it. I'm older, right? So it never really clicked to me to do that. But, you know, when you look at the market with some of these sneaks, they can really be investments. Now, the jury is out for me. Will this be a long-term thing? But either rate, it's still a good conversation to have. So y'all know I'm always about the conversation. So Dorian says, fractional shares are a game changer. They are. Indeed, they are. Miss Kim, how are you, Miss Kim? Miss Kim says, I co-share fractional shares. Absolutely. So again, instead of just spending your money, right, and it just disappear in the ether, buy some stuff with it. Again, back in the day, and y'all might hear me talk about sneakers, right, because a lot of us buy stuff that never appreciates in value. So I'm not talking about buying sneaks to wear them around and look pretty in. I'm talking about buying sneaks to sell them. So basically now you can switch positions with a sneaker store. Sneaker store buys them at a lower cost. They know what they sell them at. They sell them at a higher cost than what they brought them at. The money they make in the middle is profit. And that's what a lot of these resellers do. So I'm looking forward to that. So at the end of the day, your mindset's always got to be, I need to buy more assets, producing assets, than I spend on depreciating stuff. So 215 King of the South, what's up, bro? How you doing? I see you've been getting in that gym. Sharp Anton, how are you? Mimi, how are you? Thank you all for joining. Ms. Kim, thank you for joining as well. So again, I think it's really important that we really begin to start looking at other ways to make money, other ways to invest money. Taz, what's up, Taz? Other ways to invest money. Because again, we all complain about the state of our community. Most of my viewers are Black. We all complain about the state of our community, but we very much have a say in the state of our community, or the state of our community, because once we start owning stuff, I was going to say something else, but once we start owning stuff, once we start having assets, we can really get involved and change the direction of our community as well. And listen, when I talk about wealth, when I talk about money, I'm not talking about jewelry. I'm not talking about getting money just for the sake of getting money. I'm not talking about jewelry. I'm not talking about cars. I'm not talking about spinners, right? I'm talking about getting money so we can do things like, I don't know, school system always sucks. I think most of us probably agree with that. We can self-fund our own school. And if that doesn't work right, we can self-fund the Saturday school. Doesn't take a whole lot of money, get some volunteers and put it together. And so then when our children take up their careers, whether they decide to go to college, maybe a trade school, maybe they just go straight into entrepreneurship, whatever it is, they're able to think better. The better they're able to think, the better they're able to compete. But if we just leave them alone to the devices of the system, it ain't gonna work. So, you know, I don't think about money strictly from a materialistic standpoint. I'm thinking about it from the functionality standpoint. And again, I mean, we talk about food deserts. How many communities don't have a supermarket, or at least a grocery store? And let's not even add the Black-owned factor on it. How can we eradicate that? How can we pool our money together or go into a venture of our own and cure food deserts? Now, there's some studies that say Black folks won't buy from supermarkets. I say because they don't really try to put real supermarkets in a lot of our neighborhoods and like staff them properly and give great customer service and have great selections like at Whole Foods and other non-marginalized communities. But that's just my take, folks. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Take Digital, how are you? Thank you for joining. Thank you. Listen, every Saturday I do this. Like I said, I've been working on some stuff. So some of the Wednesdays I might miss, I'll try to let y'all know in advance. Some of the Saturdays I might miss over this next month or so. But share these conversations out. We're not talking about money enough. All right. This is the Finance Rebel Show. I am Kamari Ellis. Every Saturday at 11:30, we start our weekly wealthy conversation. Share this out. We all are complaining about money. A lot of us experience more month than money at the end of the month. We got to start working on that. Question for everybody. Anybody got a problem with the B word? Using the B word? What B word am I talking about? Budget. If you don't like budget, you got to spend that plan. Do you direct your money? Do you make your money work for you as best as possible? Or are you just kind of willy-nilly with your money? Do you pay yourself first? Meaning, as soon as you get your paycheck, or a client pays you, or your tenant pays you, do you pay yourself first? Do you put money aside to pay yourself? In a savings account, an investment account, whatever it may be. If you're not being conscious about controlling your money and putting your money to the side, you're never going to become wealthy, folks. I hate to tell you this. I'm not trying to be harsh, just giving it to you real. We all love the superstars. We all love the Bill Gates and the Warren Buffetts. At some point, they had to control their money. Even though they might have started out at a better lot in life than a lot of us, they started to control their money. Why do you think most people that won the lottery go broke? Most of them file bankruptcy. Most of them have families that end in ruin. Why do you think that is? A big part of that is because they don't have the mindset to say, hey, I have to think differently about this money. I have to learn differently about this money. I have to figure out how I can best leverage and use my money. So, again, you have to start thinking about things differently if you want different. All right. So, my man Darren Miller's on. Oh, and he's got his name up, right? So I wasn't even going to do this to him. So his name is Toot. So I'm going to give y'all a little backstory in this. So Toot's kind of like my ringer, right? Toot's one of my best friends. Grew up, I don't know a time that I didn't know this guy. But now he's into sneakers, and you see he's got his display. Oh, he's stunting on the show. He got full display up.
Hold up.
Toot, before we get into this, I want to get to some of these comments real quick for some of the folks.
Yeah, take your time.
All right, so Angela Mitchell says hello and happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you, and thank you for joining us. Dorian said, I did the sneaker eBay thing. I do too. I'm at a stalemate right now, Dorian. I ain't sold nothing in a minute. It paid for childcare. Okay, that's dope. I took $200, money, flipped it for a month, turned 200 into 360 in a week, then 360 to 700. It pays for itself being the middleman. Yeah. I mean, listen, one of the ways to solve your money crisis, and I'm not trying to be like super philosophical, but you got to get in the way of the money. And what I mean by getting the wave, like money flows. It flows from consumer to producer, from consumer to business person. And at the end of the day, if you can figure out where those waves or those flows are going, you can be better off for it in the end. So Dorian says you have to teach about money. Society teaches us to be a worker. That is correct, not an entrepreneur. But listen, and not an independent thinker, yes. But I'm going to say this, I want to add this on there. There's a lot of hate on people that work 9-to-5 jobs. That's bad, folks. And we're all kind of, what I'm seeing is we're all kind of hating on people that work 9-to-5 jobs. But guess what? Most 9-to-5 people are able to create and build wealth faster than your average entrepreneur. Why? Because they have steady cash flow. Cash is king. That's why I always say that. Doesn't mean you have to stay in that position. You can always learn and grow. But if we all have to do what we all have to do, meaning that we got to rock from our own position, wherever you start in life, whatever your lot in life is, you got to play the cards that you're dealt. So you might have children. You might not be able to have the luxury of becoming an entrepreneur right away, but you can make a plan to do that. And so like when I see my clients, a lot of them that end in ruin, financial ruin, right? is because they didn't take the time, they were not patient, and they jumped out into an idea that, one, they didn't research, right? And two, they didn't have the capital for. The reason why most businesses go out of business is because they're undercapitalized. Basically meaning they ain't got enough bread. Basically meaning they ain't got enough money. So, always think about that. I can tell you when I first started out in business, I was severely undercapitalized. And I had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of ebbs and flows, a lot of cry nights. When they say men cry in the dark, it's real. All right. So yes, not an independent thinker. I want to touch on that real quick, and then we're going to get to Darren. Don't take the Kanye West idea of independent thinker or free thinker. You cannot be a free thinker or independent thinker without reading and doing research. One of the biggest things I see going wrong right now, we don't read, y'all. A lot of us, we don't read, nor do we read things that contradict one another. What do I mean by that? There is this big thing about leaving the Democratic plantation. You got a lot of black folks talking about leaving Blexit, right? Blacks leaving the Democratic plantation. But they never read about what the Republicans have done. And I'm not trying to say Democrats are great. However, if you don't understand both sides, you can't really have full context on that situation. So I'm just giving you that as an example. All right. Read both sides, read deep, talk to other people that are experts in the field, but make up your own mind about a thing. So Tiffany says, budget. Great. Tiffany says, I love it. Do one every month. All right. So Tiffany, can I holler at you? Can I borrow $1? Kelly, what's up, Kelly? I'm going to say I've fallen off of my budget. I used to be very meticulous. All right, Kelly. So you about to go out off into the world of entrepreneurship. Got to get that B word together. Tiffany says, my family know I'm broke. I'm on a budget. I like that. And listen, folks, when I say budget, I don't mean that you got to be broke or you got to be cheap or you can't enjoy life. However, what I do know is that if your money ain't got a plan, you'll never use that money to its best of its ability, right? So I'm not saying you can't go out to eat. You can't get your loved ones a nice gift. You can't be good to your kids. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that if you're not conscious about where your money's flowing, you'll never have it. All right. Using the B word is not sexy at all. Sometimes when you're a short-term option for someone, they hate the B word. I know. I've been doing this for a long time, Dorian. They don't watch and tell their money where to go. Right. They just spend and don't invest. That is correct. But that's the consumer mindset. That's the mindset we all have to work to defeat. Stall may have Kobe Crazy 98. Okay. So you can put those up for sale. I love my behavioral health career, but it does not pay the bills when I'm one-on-one saving a child's life. Coaching them up, I have to take a portion of that love and prepare for the future for me. I agree. All right, Kelly says she knows. Hey, Kelly, how did you like that Lake Minnetonka comment I did in the group? Can you give me some facts Republicans have done? Okay, I'll give you one real quick because, listen, I can talk politics all day long. Look who started the war on drugs, a.k.a. the war on black people. Let me know who said that and get back to me. That debunks that whole bullshit meaning of blacks on the plantation. That's all I'm going to say. Taz, what's the best beginning books on investing that you would recommend? That's hard for me to answer. Reason being, I went to school for finance. I do have some. I get that question a lot. And when I say I went to school for finance, like I read a bunch of textbooks. I'm looking at my books now, and like I have a lot of other technical books. But Taz, I'll get some and I'll come up with them. Hey, Key, how you doing? But listen, I don't want to keep my guest. I know he's got a busy day. He's out there slinging them sneaks. This is my guy here, Darren Miller. Like I said, We've been friends. He's one of my best friends, one of my confidants. And he wanted to come on and talk about his journey into buying and investing in sneaks. So, Darren, how are you today? And thank you for joining us.
And I'm good, man. Appreciate you having me. Long overdue getting on. So
Yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all this. Darren's kind of my secret weapon too, right?
Yeah.
He gives me content. He gives me show ideas sometimes, and they're usually great ones. They're usually great ones. I gotta get that.
We have fun with it. I'm not the on camera guy, but decided to cross over today. So been up early today. You know, kid had some soccer games early, but in the midst of getting done that with my son, you know, I got on, and typical for Saturday. This is today's release.
What is that? What is that?
These are the Bel Air 5. So if you take a look into the inside of the shoe, you should understand the Bel Air. Will Smith, remember the jacket?
Oh, the Fresh Prince. Okay.
Bel Air 5. So this is today we picked up 6 pair. Today.
6 pair.
6 pair. So it's a little bit of a family affair. So I'll give a little bit of background into the sneaker thing, and then I'll my journey, and then I'll talk about, like, you know, how I go about it now, because it's a lot, you know. Initially, I've always liked sneakers. Probably always kept a nice amount of shoes, and then it got to the point where I had so many shoes, I started thinking about collecting. I always knew about the resale market, but never really wanted to get into it. You know, apprehension about the risk or what risk could potentially be out there. And then I'll say about December of 2018, I decided to do a little bit of research. And like anything else, you know, you get out of it what you put into it. So I put a lot of research in for about 3 months. And then I'll say spring of 2019, I started actually like buying shoes and reselling shoes. And ultimately, you know, I had some success early and some failures. But what I did was, as I started buying and reselling, I started figuring out, you know, what shoes you kind of want to get rid of quickly, and what shoes you want to kind of hold on to because of the investment piece. And that's where, you know, how Kamara and I got to this point of me being on the show, because it's really about the investment piece of it. I mean, you can easily go buy a shoe and see that it's worth $50 more and just sell it. But where you really, really get knee deep into the game is when you start buying shoes and picking up volume and knowing that, you know, in 8 to 12 months or sometimes 2 years, that a certain shoe could potentially be 3 or 4 times or 5 times what it's worth at the specific date and time that you purchased it.
Well, hold on. Let me stop you for a minute.
Yeah.
You said you researched. What exactly did you research in this process?
So I did what we're doing now. I pretty much went on YouTube and subscribed to a bunch of YouTubers who pretty much do this. And I watch YouTube probably 5 hours a week or so, give or take. I watch every day and kind of keep up to date on different shoe happenings and things like that. Kind of understand the marketplace, because it's supply and demand, you know. So you got to not only listen to people on YouTube or in different cities who give you information, but at the same time, when you start going to the retail stores, you know, you got to talk to the managers and the people at the store. You know, sometimes it's just being pleasant, asking a simple question. You know, what's the volume like? You know, you got, is a lot of pairs, a little bit of pairs. You know, you kind of figure out your foot game.
Gotcha. So everybody, listen, put research in the chat. I find a lot of times people don't research. But not only did he just do research at YouTube, but he went to the actual physical location. Right. So that's important. Now, we older cats right now, right?
Right.
We've been around for a while. I find some of us kind of are clueless about this market.
Right.
What made you take, you know, I know you said you had a lot of sneaks, right? You always been a sneakerhead for the most part.
Right.
But what made you kind of take that next step? Or why do you think our generation is, you know, opposed to it?
You know, I won't say that. I'll say, like, in my research, there's a lot of people in their mid 40s who are in this game. I mean, I meet people at stores doing the same thing that I'm doing. So I think it fits all ages and races too. So that's another thing we can talk about. But I think there's all kinds of people who are doing it. For me, it was probably, I don't know if I'll use the word a midlife crisis, but it served the need at this point in my life where I needed something to latch onto. Like you talked about 9-to-5 jobs. I've been in my job for my current place of employment for 20 plus years. So this was a good hobby that I enjoy. You know how people say do something you really, really like?
Right.
This is easy for me because I like shoes. So I don't feel like it's really, really difficult. I even have my kids into it, and I got one son who really, really loves shoes. And I got my older son who's just more inclined to want to make a few bucks, and I've taught them to do it. And we talk about, again, your show's about wealth, and I love it because it's a generational wealth and teaching your kids how to build wealth. And, my sons do it. And sometimes I got to say, well, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to hold the shoe? You want to sell it? I let them make the decisions. I give them a couple scenarios, but it's teaching them the value of $1,
Right. And so you work a 9-to-5, right? I wasn't going to talk about that too much, but you work a 9-to-5. So how do you balance out the workload of your job with actually doing this business? Because it is a business.
Yeah, like anybody else. I mean, it's a hobby. I mean, I can shut it down if I don't want to. The good thing about it is that like I don't have to do anything. If I go a week and I decide I want to just bow out for a week, I just can. I just won't have the opportunity to secure a shoe or whatever the case may be. But typically, it's the time where you might be watching your favorite TV show. I have the show on, but I'm also on my tablet or phone and just doing the work. So it's not an inconvenience in that space. I will say it can be an inconvenience when you have to go to physical stores. So like this week, we had to do the shoes I just picked up. The one store that I frequent, it was raffle only. So, fortunately enough, my wife went in and my son went and got the raffles done for me because I wasn't available to go to the stores and do the raffle on Thursday. So sometimes you have to get creative figuring it out. I had one scenario where I won a raffle and I was out of town with one of my sons for sports. And typically when you win, you have to be the one to show up. But I had a relationship with the store manager and I said, hey, look, can my wife come and pick it up? And luckily I had previously introduced the store manager to my wife just randomly in the mall and they made the exception. So again, it's like anything else. When I talk about what you put into it is what you get out of it. You got to sometimes kind of know the game, build the relationships, do your research, stuff like that, and then figure out creative ways around things. So, with a lot of releases being on Saturdays, typically I'm off on a Saturday. So getting shoes is not too bad for me to go pick up. But sometimes dealing with like raffles and stuff like that, if you got to go in store. Now, there's not too many in-store raffles. That's rare right now. Typically, a lot of stuff is online. So
Now, is that because of Corona?
Well, even before Corona, most stuff was online. This one store, I don't know why they did it this way. They had prior to this recent week, everything that they had done was actually first come, first serve. And then they come up with this in-store raffle, which was really, really weird. Like, why would you want people to come in the store with Corona to go get a raffle ticket? You know what I mean? That makes no sense. When they had the opportunity to go first come, first serve on day of release, or they previously had online raffles. So I don't get it. Like having people come into the store essentially twice, to me, just opens up more exposure. But that's a whole nother topic of conversation.
Right.
So yeah, I think picking up, on a Saturday is fairly convenient for me, except for when, you run into you got busy time and whatnot.
Parent stuff.
Yeah, basically. Yep.
Dad duty. I get it. So, I mean, let's talk about the numbers a little bit, if you don't mind.
Right. Yep.
You brought those sneakers today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you paid for them, but how much profit could someone potentially see off that?
So, like, and this is the part I wanted to get into to discuss with your audience today, because I talked about the research and I talked about probably starting this in about March of 2019. So I got about roughly 17 months of this in, right?
Right.
And when I first started, I was just selling everything right up front. I get a shoe. If I paid $170 for it, $160 for it, if I could sell it for $210 and make $40, I'd do that because profit was profit, and I was new to it, right? Later on, I started understanding what shoes have big, big value long term. As I started doing research, and I'll get into StockX in a little bit. That's a key component to all this because that's where people will understand what you talk about here on your platform as far as investments, and we talk about sneakers being a stock. That's a thought process that I have, and that's kind of what I really, really work to do. So I'll talk about short-term gains, and today is a good example. So today these shoes came out, and it's public information, so I can tell you how much I paid for them. This is a $190 shoe. So I was able to secure 6 pair at $190. Now, you got 2 ways of selling the shoe. You can sell what they call local, and if you're the type person that has, heavy social media platform, where you go up on like
I think too, just you froze on us for a minute.
Okay, am I good now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Last part I heard was you can sell them if you have a good local social media platform.
If you could sell local social media, offer up is another one. And then you can avoid the fees. So I'll talk about StockX. StockX is like your probably your most popular online media platform to sell shoes. Now the thing about StockX is it operates like the stock market. You can see what the lowest ask is, meaning what the seller wants to sell a shoe for, and then you can see what it costs to buy right up front. So you can see historic numbers on a shoe. You can see what a shoe went for 3 months ago. You can see what it went a year ago. So you can track the highs and lows of a shoe. And when you get shoes that are very much in common space, you can kind of get an idea of what's going to happen to a shoe. You can have a shoe that's the same, what you call silhouette, but then it comes out in different colorways. But that silhouette sells really, really well. And I'll talk about silhouettes in a minute. I'll give a good example of one. So, but some shoes, aren't going to gain a ton of value over time. It's really like, hey, look, it's a Jordan shoe. It sold out because you got a lot of resellers who go out and buy tons and tons of pair. So what happens is there's no more walk into a store and buy it. So now the only opportunity to buy the shoe is to go get it on the secondary market. Or you live in a remote location where there's not a lot of pairs in your area. I mean, I always tell people like, well, what do you do if you live in like Iowa? You know what I mean? Like, how many Foot Lockers are out there if you're in a distant place, but yet you want a shoe? So what happens is that some people just buy off the secondary market because it's comfortable and easy. So today is a good example. The shoe sold out on Nike sneakers app within, immediately. So in the stores, your Foot Lockers, your Champs, your Foot Actions, all your local stores, they all do raffles. So essentially those stores are all sold out. So the only other option is to try to go online on Foot Locker or Champs or whatever. But when you go online, they're going to sell out immediately as well. You got bots that actually eat up pairs. So
you got bots that are buying pairs of sneakers.
Yeah, 50 to 100 at a time. Yes. The
Wow.
bots are killing the game. So you got some foot sites that actually are putting in like background, protection against bots. So bots is another issue. We could talk about the sneaker game for probably longer than we have today because there's so many different pieces to it.
Right.
As far as unsecure pairs. So you have to really, really put a lot of energy and strategy into how you're going to get pairs. And some weeks it changes based on, like, okay, this store is selling it this way, this store is selling it that way. You got to kind of figure it all out. So to get back to this shoe, paid $190. StockX, the going rate for the shoe in a size 12 is $260. So
there's $70 equity already.
Yeah, so there's some fees associated with that, right? So that number turns into roughly $230. So I got a $40 profit, right? Not bad, in my opinion, because here's the thing, right? If I actually sold these shoes locally, now I got to wait and secure a buyer, and then I probably got to drive to each one of those buyers, and then spend more time setting up appointments for each and every shoe. So you got 6 pair. People say, well, I don't want to pay the fees. Well, it just depends on what your space is. For me, a shoe like this is a volume shoe. I want to get 6 pairs in one day, and I want to sell all 6, make my 40, 50 bucks, and I make $200-$300 in a day. And that's it, real quick and easy. Now, we'll talk about hold shoes. And I wore these sneakers today, so I won't go get a fresh pair. But this is a good example. This is a Jordan 1, right? So if you're in the sneaker game, the shoe you want to hold the most is that silhouette. So I'm going to take my camera with me. You guys can follow me a little bit, and I'll give you guys a little bit of a snapshot. But there's multiple different silhouettes of the Jordan 1, right? And there's so many different colorways of the Jordan 1 that have come out over time, okay? And because that silhouette is so memorable and so well valued, those shoes, depending on what year you bought them and when they came out, usually cost about $160, and now they're $170 in 2020. But most of those shoes after release day probably sell between $275 and $300 on release day. There are Jordan 1s that are worth upwards of $500 a piece. Wow. So this shoe here that I have on my foot, that I wore these shoes today, this shoe here in a size 12 is worth roughly $450 right now. This shoe came out August 31st, 2019, not even a year ago. So when we start talking about the idea of sneakers being like stock.
And how much did you pay for those?
$160.
So you paid $160 a year ago in August.
Yep.
This year they're now worth $500.
$450. Yep, roughly. They'll be $500 probably in a matter of weeks because they're going up like that at that rate. So
right now, that's like a 300%, almost 300% rate of return.
Exactly. So a lot of people in the sneaker game, and that's a good example of a shoe that you hold. So a lot of resellers of people in the sneaker game, go buy up massive amounts of pairs to sit on them. And that's what they put their capital into. So some people put their money into a savings account. Some people put their money into a stock, and Kamari probably gives a lot of great advice on that as far as the stock market and what you should do there.
He's biased. I don't pay him no mind.
Yeah, I am. And for myself, yeah, we want to get these likes up, smash that like button. But no, that's what my YouTubers say. Smash that like button.
I was about to say you about to be a YouTuber.
Get this algorithm up. But for me, I put my money into sneakers now. And the sneakers that I hold, I keep a good tally of what the values are and where they're at, and then at some point you figure out when you want to cash out.
You do I don't that on a spreadsheet, on a piece of paper. How do you do that?
I mean, I'll be honest. Initially, I started just kind of keeping it in my own little tablet, and then now I need to get a spreadsheet and kind of it's a little bit more robust now because I've been doing it for quite some time and I got quite a bit of holds.
And behind you, is that your personal or those holds?
Yeah, these are personal.
Oh, wow.
So those are now I will tell you there's a few in there that like I probably wouldn't wear, but I got them to consider personal because at this point I'm both collector and also trying to, do some investing. Right. So, there's an investor side that I'm holding shoes for the long term to cash out because I know there's significant value in them to hold them. Then there's the short term investment, which is like this shoe today. So I've already sold 3 pair online already. I just haven't had a chance because I just got in. I didn't get a chance to sell the other 3.
So wait a minute. You got those this morning. Your wife went and got them. You put them up, and they're already being sold.
Yeah. So what I did was I actually picked up 2 pair myself. My wife picked up 2 other pair because she had won the raffle. So physically she had to go, and my older son had won 1 raffle. He had to go. So they went and picked up their 2. I picked up my 2, and then me and my younger son, we won online in the car. Both of us won on the sneakers app online in the car. So I got 4 pair in hand, and then I got 2 on the way.
So Tiffany says, I've never been into sneakers, but this is good information. I love my heels.
Well, if you go on StockX, they sell handbags, watches. It's the same platform for all those different.
Do they sell heels?
I don't know about the heels. I ain't checking to that. But no. So you can sell sneakers in any way you want. A lot of people only sell short term. So some people buy shoes on release day and they're looking to dump them right away. They want to get. I see guys trying to get 10, 20, 15, 10, 20, 30 pairs, and they want to sell them all right away. They don't want to hold. If they say, look, if I got 15 pairs of a shoe and I made $20 off of each one, do the multiple, and they made that money for the week, and that's what they do. They just flip shoes right away. So a lot of guys who do at the bots, that's what they do. Now, Kamari's got StockX up. So click on those Bel Air 5s right to your left there. Those are the ones I got there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you don't have. So if you go into all sizes, and you can click on the 12 because that's what I usually purchase my shoe size.
So the size will change based on the shoe size.
That's another part of the market. So you can see the market's been established on this shoe. You can see the sell price and the buy price is $260. So there's no discrepancy, right? If you were to look at some of the other shoes there, you'll see the sell. If you wanted to sell it right now, is going to be a lower price than the buy number. So let's go with the
Well, hold on 1 second, because I saw something. The bigger the shoe size, typically the higher.
Not all the way. Sometimes it's about getting volume. Sometimes they make a shoe and they don't do, when they release shoes, they don't do everything like on an even scale. So sometimes there may be a bunch of size 17s and sometimes there may be like none. You know what I mean? Like, the volume. So it just depends. You know what I'm saying?
Let's see. Do they have high heels?
No, I don't think so. There they go.
They got some Yeezys.
I never looked into Yeezy high heels. I never looked into it.
So there you go, Tiffany. You can get in the game. You can get in the game.
Yeah, man.
All right, so go ahead, too.
So I was just saying that like a lot of guys, especially the guys with the bots, because of the botter might get 30 pairs. So they just dump them really, really early. But here's the thing. Sometimes the botters sell them to resellers. So for instance, if I bought it and I bought it a bunch of Jordan 1s, they might say, okay, I'm going to sell you 10 pair at $250 a clip. Well, that guy bought them for $250 a clip. He's going to hold them for a year or two, hoping that they go up to $450. See where I'm going with that? So the idea of reselling is becoming bigger than just a one-time swap, meaning I bought a shoe to sell to somebody going to put it right on their foot. You got guys who are buying the shoes, then they sell in bulk to somebody who wants to hold it, for future, even long-term investment. So there's multiple parties making money. It's like any other manufacturing business. You know what I mean? Product. Multiple people are making money. Just depends on what end of the food chain you're on and where you wanna be at. But you got to know how the food chain works to decide where you want to be at for each specific product. So for this product, it's a short-term gain. Anybody wanting to hold this shoe probably's got to want to be in it for a long, long stretch. This isn't a shoe that you can feel like you're going to guarantee a much bigger profit in 12 months. It's probably
you consider a long stretch.
Yeah, a long stretch. I would say probably 2-3 years when so here's the thing, right? One thing I understand about sneakers, it's like a car. Once you drive it off the lot, what happens?
Depreciates in value.
Exactly. So what happens with a shoe? Yes. What happens with a shoe once you put it on foot?
Same thing.
Yeah. So what happens is, so now let's get back into supply and demand. So once people start putting the shoes on the foot, there's less supply. So over time, there's still a demand for the shoe, right? But now there's no available pairs because people began to wear them. So supply and demand with shoes holds true, in the short term. So sometimes they have sneaker releases of what they call a limited shoe, meaning. So I'll give a good example. I got to show you. I got to be illustrative here. So just bear with me for a minute, guys.
So listen, everybody, while we're waiting on to bring the shoe back, listen, smash that like button. He's right. We do have to kind of trick the algorithm, because the algorithm, whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube or on Instagram, will not show this to everybody, will not show this to everybody that is watching.
Right.
So hitting the like button helps defeat the algorithm. Commenting helps defeat the algorithm. And sharing helps defeat the algorithm. So help me define and defeat the algorithm, y'all. So again, you're watching the Financial Rebel Show. I'm Kamari Ellis. This is our Saturday Wealthy Conversation. So every Saturday at 11:30, we do our financial recap and our wealthy conversation. So if you like it, share it out, and then make sure y'all come on back.
Yep.
So go ahead, show the shoe.
So real quick, so this shoe, Jordan 11 Concord, one of the most iconic sneakers made. Very, very high demand. So this shoe came out Christmas 2018, December of 18. Okay,
now, that's not the first time it came out, right? That shoe was out.
They re-released, so it's been retro like 5 times.
Okay.
Prior to that, it came out in 2011, and then before that, 2005 or something like that. So anyhow, it came back out December 2018. They made 1 million pairs. 2 million, I think 2 million pairs. It's a ton of sneakers, right? So supply was there. Even though demand was super high, the supply was there. So, you could resell, it's a $220 shoe. So you could resell for $300. It's not a bad price to pay, right? Fast forward to The Last Dance. Michael Jordan's documentary comes out.
Right.
Shoes down on $500 right now. Last Dance pushed certain iconic shoes up even faster than they would go up. I mean, that shoe would be more than $300 now because of the time and because the supply is lower now because people would put the shoe on foot. So, for instance, like my pair is worn, but I have other pairs left over that I kept because I knew the shoe will have value for later on. Plus, sometimes I double up on a shoe because I know I'm going to wear one out and I want another pair because they don't release fast enough. It's not like you can rely on a shoe releasing, in another year or two. Sometimes you're waiting 8-9 years. So having multiple pairs for yourself is beneficial if you're a sneakerhead.
Right.
But also, too, if you decide you want to sell it, you also have that resource to sell. And The Last Dance, this shoe, part of Last Dance was probably about $375. I know that because I have a friend of ours, I don't know if he's watching, who's looking to who wanted to buy that shoe. And I said, look, I give it to you for $300. And he said, no, that's not a good idea for him. And I want to let him know, hey, bruh, that shoe's like $500 now. You could have made your own money off it. But anyhow.
So it's a good question, right?
Yeah.
You talked about wearing the shoe.
Right.
You can still sell these used, right?
Yeah, I don't do any used sneaker sales.
Not used in general.
Yeah, you do. There are people who sell shoes that are lightly worn and all sort of stuff. I will tell you, I don't have a lot of understanding of that market because I just don't delve into it. I do because for me, it's easy to understand what they call dead stock, meaning no one touched it. And for the most part, that's where most people shop in that market. And again, going back to the supply and demand piece, when you go on StockX, right? If you have an account, I don't know if you have a specific StockX account, but when you go in there, you can start looking like when they have that little tab that says ask, right? This is where it gets into like to the investing and the stock part of it. Right. You can start looking at the supply and seeing how many asks are out there. So you can kind of see, well, wow, if there's like 100 pairs that are for sale at $250 or less, then that price isn't going to change anytime soon. So yeah, go back to, you can pick any of those shoes, doesn't matter. I actually won these shoes. This is a woman's shoe. I won this shoe the other week, size 9.5. I didn't get it for myself. I got it strictly for resale purposes. So I paid $170 for it. And
this is the woman's shoe I'm looking at?
Yeah, it's a woman's shoe.
Oh, because it's a W. Okay, I didn't peep that.
Well, I got a 9.5. I paid $170, and it's already worth $300 if you go to a 9.5. And I just got that shoe a week ago. But Kamari, go Go to 9.5. I want to show you something. So yes, 300 plus. So hit view all ask. So these are the numbers. So you have to have an account. But I'll explain what happens there, right? It's going to show you all the ask numbers. So it's going to start at 322 because that's the lowest ask, meaning that's the lowest price that the seller is willing to sell the shoe at. Now, what you'll find is that sometimes you may have 10 sellers wanting to sell at 322. That means there are 10 pairs out there just at that price point.
Right.
And then on down, you may see people want to sell at 325, 340. And you can get a feel for how many pair are out there. And that gives you a sense of how quickly that pair is going to ramp up in price. You know what I mean?
Now, it's interesting, right? Because Toot just showed us the ask and the bid, and he talked about it being very similar to the stock market.
Right.
That's exactly what you do when you buy a stock.
Right.
The ask is the price that the seller puts out there. The bid is the price that the buyer puts out there. And oftentimes when they meet in the middle, a sale occurs.
Right.
So it's very much auction style. It's very supply and demand oriented. And if you notice, one of the first things Toot said, it's supply and demand. So he came in here talking economics. I can't tell you how important economics is, folks. But go ahead, Toot.
No, it's a good point. It's all economics and feel and a lot of research to kind of know what's going on. So as I'm driving actually, and I'm picking up these shoes, I dumped the 2 pair that I had in hand. I got like a little bit of a rule, like I don't sell a shoe unless I actually have it in my possession. So even if I have a shoe that's coming in the mail or whatever, I don't sell it because you get concerned and like, well, what if it doesn't come or it doesn't come as the size you ordered, so on and so forth. I actually had that happen once where I ordered a shoe from Foot Locker and it was a half size off. Well, if I sell it online and I don't send them the shoe that I'm anticipating, I got an issue, right? So I called my wife out as I'm driving home and I made sure she had her pairs in hand as planned. And once she did, I'm clicking my button and I'm selling the shoe because I want to dump the pairs, before the price goes down, because what's going to happen is probably in a day or two, that price is going to go down.
Right.
That's my guess. Now what I'll do is the 2 that I have coming in online, one will be for myself. I'll keep 1 pair for myself. And then I'll hold 1 pair probably for a month, just in case something really weird happens with the market. It's kind of like stock, right? You kind of like, do you dump all of them or do you keep a few shares just in case? And Kamari could probably elaborate on that. But with sneakers, every now and again, I'm like, well, I'll keep 1 extra pair in case it goes up and I don't want to miss the boat. I don't want to miss out on the opportunity that like this wasn't a short hold, meaning sell it right away type sneaker. You don't miss it. And you know what? If I sell it, I will never sell it for less than retail. So if I only make $10 versus 40 or 50, so be it. It's kind of worth it to kind of make sure you don't miss the opportunity to make 150 on it, So I'll probably hold 1 pair just for a good 3 to 6 month time frame. And then sometimes what I'll do is those shoes, I just sell them to kind of get some capital back to go back and reinvest in other shoes, because I'm like, okay, well, I've been holding these. The market's not doing anything. I don't get any thoughts that like I missed the boat on it. So let me go back and sell them. So now I can put more money into other shoes and kind of, work through that.
Yeah, we call that taking profit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's real across business, not just in the stock market. So,
exactly. So, you
get some of that profit out to reinvest back in the business.
Yeah, you're playing a lot of different games, a lot of hunches. And like the stock market, some things are very, very fact-based and based on historical data. And sometimes it's just feel. I mean, I'm assuming like for those of you who are big-time investors or regular investors, you probably do some things off of just gut feeling. It may not be off of data. Some of the most best business decisions are just made off of just feel and just kind of thinking things through. And it's not always about data. Data doesn't always rule the day. But in a lot of instances, the data can drive you to be for some level of consistency. And then sometimes you just have to have a hunch.
No, I mean, that's actually a wonderful point, right? Because once you really become intimate with a thing, like you can understand the downs and the lows, ups and highs, data is important, don't get me wrong, but
Yep.
there is an intuitive part to it that will help. And some of the best businessmen, some of the best investors are able to blend the two because you're doing that as well. You're looking at the ask bid, you're looking at how often or how many sellers and buyers are in the market. That's data.
Right.
But then you're wondering, like, well, I usually see a trend. Michael Jordan is probably the biggest basketball icon ever just by witnessing Jordans. And you can tell that trend has not changed.
Right.
So, you know, when Jordans come out, they're still going to be hot.
So let's talk about forecasting too, because, you know, there's always a financial component of how much capital you have to put into shoes, right? So Kamari, do you have the sneakers app by chance on your phone?
I can't use my phone.
Okay. No, don't worry about it. So what I was going to say about forecasting is that there's, for the most part, in the market today, there's at least one Michael Jordan drop or sneaker. And I haven't even gotten to other shoes that are really decent, like Yeezys and stuff like that, where there's profit on those. I'm just going to kind of stick to the Jordans because I'll delve into Yeezys and make the dollars off Yeezys. I'll sell any shoe that has profit associated with it. But for the sake of discussion, to kind of make it easy, Jordans are good because pretty much every week right now, there's something coming out. And depending on what's coming out, you have to sometimes align your capital for the shoes that are going to be the bigger hitters. So today, I didn't really have to align my capital much because I knew I was going to sell them right away. So that money's going to come back in the short term. So it's like the money goes out, but it comes right back in a matter of days. So
you said the sneakers app. Is that the Nike sneakers app?
The Nike sneakers app.
All right, so I'm downloading that on my iPad.
Okay, good. So reason why I want you guys to see it is that once he gets into it, it'll show you all the sneakers that are coming out. It'll be on the app that are coming out, and you'll see the Jordans that are like listed in there. So what I do also is I look and say, well, next week this other shoe's coming out, and if that shoe is more of a hold shoe, I know I'm going to be investing capital that I'm not going to see a quick return on because I'm going to be holding that shoe. So you kind of have to have a little bit of a plan. So Kamari said, how much time do you spend on this? I do spend a little bit of time, you know, developing a game plan because of the capital you got to put into the shoes for this week versus maybe a shoe that's 2 or 3 weeks down the line that, you know, wow, I want to invest into multiple pairs, but this is going to be a year-long investment, you know? So I'll give a good example of what I did. I'll give a good example of a short and a long-term hold. And I'll grab the shoe just for, again, to be illustrative.
All right, everybody, while we're waiting, smash that like button. If you're just now joining, it's the Finance Rebel Show. This is our every Saturday wealthy conversation.
Okay.
Today we're talking with Darren Miller. You see his name up there is Toot. I wasn't going to put his nickname out there. I was going to talk about his government. But he put it out there. So we'll talk about it. But again, make sure to share, like, and comment, everybody.
Yep. So this shoe is a good example of a short and long-term hold. Okay.
What are those?
So these are Jordan 12s, right?
I don't think I've ever seen those.
Okay, so
you know what? I have. I've just seen them in red.
Yeah, they came out. Yeah, I got a couple pairs back there, but this shoe came out probably about 3 weeks ago. And the significance of this shoe is that it's a Jordan 12. But the bigger significance is that it's the colorway that Gary Payton wore when he was with the LA Lakers. So when you're a player, they make what you call player edition shoes. And typically on the heel, they'll have your number on the heel. So what Jordan Brand's been doing is they've been taking the player edition shoes and releasing them as general release, but they take away all the specialty player stuff. So they would take away the number, you know, anything they had that was Gary Payton signature, they take that off the shoe and release it like this. But the shoe becomes super popular because it was kind of like the original, what they call PE, player edition. So I had 13 pairs of these. 2 were my sons, and the 1 pair in hand I kept for myself. So I had 10 pair to sell. I sold 7, roughly 300 a piece. And then I kept 3.
Right.
Long-term hold. Because the price went down. If you look them up now, the price is probably like $240. But on release day, the demand was so high, it was like clicking a button. And I was selling them all for $300 a clip.
And you paid how much for them?
$190.
Okay, so it was 110 profit. Forget about the fees for right now.
Yeah, yep. So, and I sold 7 pair. Okay. Then I kept 3 because it's likely that now the shoes leveled off and it's like about 240, 250 because the hype, you got to remember, this shoes come out every week. So that hype and hysteria is really, really short term because there's another shoe for people to get hyped over the next week, right?
Right.
So, but then we talked about supply and demand. People are going to wear the shoe. And at some point, they're going to wear the shoe. And then this shoe will go back up over $300. And the ones I held, so I made in the short term, I made the money back so my capital expenditure wouldn't be too damaging, right? Because I made the money back that I'm holding the shoes for. The money I made pretty much covers the cost of the shoes that I'm holding. But then the shoes that I'm holding, hopefully I'll sell them for more than that $300 clip. Maybe I'll sell those for $350. So it's kind of, you know?
But it's still good profit either way.
Yeah, it's good profit either way. But it's a good strategy to have when, you know, you are willing to invest in that many pairs. And then, but here's the thing, it didn't damage me from an expenditure perspective because I was able to recoup it in the short term, but then now because of what I was able to recoup, have the long-term hold.
Right. I mean, that's very similar to a very popular trading strategy, right? Let's say you buy 100 shares of Nike and it's a trade. It's not a long-term hold. And
Right.
you buy it at, I don't know, $100. And, you know, your price target for the stock is 110. That's your initial price target.
Right.
So once you get to 110, you might sell off a third to get back your capital, your original capital, and then let the rest of those other 67 shares continue to run. And then you may begin to sell those off over time. Again, it's very similar to what you're doing.
I gave those examples because I know they're all tangible examples that your audience could kind of relate to from an investment perspective. So I give those examples just to kind of show that how there's some synergy between typical investments versus the sneaker game. It's still an investment. It's just a matter of how you want to do it, where you want to put your money.
Right. So just put on some of these. Dorian, are you a sneakerhead too? Hey, Don, thanks for liking and sharing. Listen, everybody, like and share this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tiffany. Appreciate you. Chili, what's up, bro? Thanks for joining us. Angela says, awesome nuggets. Corey, my brother from the Blackwell Project and the By the Hood podcast. How you doing, Corey? So yeah, this is really intricate, I see.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you and I talked about it, but it gets more intricate the longer I get into it. And, you know, it's fun for me because it's a challenge. And, you know, when you kind of, you don't know week to week whether you're going to get pairs, you don't know how many you're going to get. And then, you know, you think sometimes you're like, wow, if I get one, I'll be happy. And you end up with 6 and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, now I'm in the game. And then sometimes, I'll be honest, there's some shoes that come out that sometimes are really, really limited and you don't get any. And I end up myself buying them on a resale market because I'm a collector. So sometimes I end up paying $300 for a shoe because it was limited. I couldn't get a pair and I needed them. And I bite the bullet and I buy them myself.
So you get high. You don't get high off your own supply. You go get somebody else's supply.
Hell yeah.
All right. So, like, do you have any other plans to make this bigger, or maybe get a store one day, or is this?
Nah, you know what? For now, honestly, I want to. I still feel like I'm in the infancy of this, and there's people who could probably, get on this platform who do it at a much higher clip, and talk about it in a lot different ways. I'm just a guy that works every day and kind of started as a hobby, but now understands it a little bit more, can probably speak to it to some degree. So I don't have like long-term plans. I think my short-term plan is to continue to have fun with it. And then, I think my biggest goal, Kamari, in all honesty, is that when I start cashing out the shoes, is to figure out what I want to do with it. Because I put a significant investment not only a financial investment, but a time investment, and
Right.
say, okay, what do I do with it? That's valuable. Do I purchase a property or whatever? I don't know. You know what I mean? Does it go towards something like that? That's going to be more of a long-term thing. I can't hold the shoes forever.
Right.
At some point I have to sell them. So that hold item is there, but at some point I do have to sell them, and I have to say, well, what do I do responsible? With that capital.
Got you. Now that's interesting, right? Because you can hold stocks forever, but you are saying that you cannot hold sneakers forever. But I don't know. Do you think Jordan will ever go out of style? I mean, obviously, 200 years from now will be different, but
no, because we're like 2 generations removed. I mean, I go. It's funny because you asked me earlier about the generations that are in the store, and like I've been in line, and I've talked to guys that are in their 40s and late 30s and 40s. I would consider in my own generation, but then at the same time, I got 17-year-old kids coming up to me. Like, I've had days where I bought a shoe and didn't leave the mall because the kids come up to me and ask me to buy my shoe that they saw I purchased because they want to hold the shoe for the long term. And I've had Yeezys on multiple occasions where I bought the Yeezys and I paid 2 pairs. I might have paid $440, and I leave the mall with $600 cash, literally.
listen,
You know what I mean? Because the kids want the shoe, they want to hold it, and they're young kids. And I got one kid who sees me regularly, and he knows I go with my one son. He's like, so you're gonna sell me the shoe? And I'm like, nah. He's like, nah. He's like, don't tell me you're giving it to your son this time. I mean, these kids are aggressive, man. I mean, they go, and some of these kids pay other kids to get in line and wait for shoes. So,
well, my son used to do that, right? So when I first heard that, I was like, who the hell is going to pay somebody to wait in line?
They're people with full storage units, Kamari.
Yeah, I know. I'm finding that out now.
Full storage unit.
What's up, Kevin? How you doing, bro? I need a Black Rebel sneaker. So here's a quick funny story for this, y'all.
Yeah.
Everybody knows I'm the Financial Rebel. Kevin, his tag on IG is what is it? The Intelligent Black Rebel or something like that. Me and Kevin have kind of known each other in passing for years, and I never knew he had that tag. So I said, yo, I'm about to take your name because everybody knows I'm the Rebel. So we working out a deal now. But listen, actually, Kevin, I might take that idea because a cousin of mine actually, I don't know what to call it, but my cousin redoes sneakers. He repaints sneakers.
He
the themes.
They call them customs. I saw them. Yeah. They're custom. I'm looking for him to do something for me. You should have him on.
Yeah, so I might either get a pair of Finance Rebel sneakers redone, or I might do a Black Rebel. I might just do a Black Rebel. So the incredible Black Rebel.
So let me show your fans something, Kamari, real quick.
So again, you got the domain name. That's all right. I can find a remix of it.
So hold it. So I gotta put a plug in, right? This isn't for me. This is just for all you guys who are Philadelphians, and I'm sure most of the people here are local, and you love AI. These are releasing again this week. Don't sleep. If you're an AI fan, these joints are coming out this week. I suggest you go grab them.
So what do you think they're going to go for?
I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I saw it online, and my wife asked me, she says, do you need to get another pair? And I said, well, I have those, and I had another pair upstairs that I hadn't worn yet. I mean, I wore already. And I said, so no, I don't need to get them. But I think in our group text, I think one of our friends mentioned it a week or two ago. No, in our Zoom call. I don't think you were on it, but somebody mentioned the Iversons, the ones, and I thought about that, and I said sometimes they come out, and people don't even know it.
Right.
It's just the awareness because they sell out so quickly. So I'm thinking about everybody on this call, and if they're local, and people people like AIs. I mean, that's the most iconic pair.
Bubba. I mean, Bubba's always want to kind of be he's a legend in and of itself, you know. All right, Shamiz, I know you're not a Philadelphian, but this is a Philly thing right now.
Sorry about that. How many people we got in this chat, Kamari?
What's that?
How many people we got on here right now?
So right now we got 19 online between Facebook and YouTube, and
perfect.
On IG we have 4. Perfect. So can't really broadcast simultaneously to IG. So that's why I'm using my my phone for IG.
Okay.
Yes, we know you're in the BX in the Bronx. Oh, you're gonna trademark that? All right, but what you gonna do with it? You better get to it before I do. So, does anybody have any questions for Toot? I know it's already 1:05. I don't want to keep him all day. You know, he's a dad. He's a husband. He got stuff to do. He busy. He might even have some more sneaks to go get.
No, I'm good, man. I got time. We don't got to leave out here till 2:30 actually, so I got a little bit of time.
Look who's in the building.
Oh,
what's up? Christy, do you know Vernon's IG? I can't think of it right now. I do want to show what he did though, real quick.
I might have it because he sent it to me.
Yeah, I've been waiting for a chance. I mean, because the work he's doing is phenomenal. I'm sure I can find it on Facebook. Again, he does custom sneakers, so we are seeing the market for sneakers absolutely take off in a way that, I'll be honest, I would have never envisioned. I would have never envisioned that in 1,000 years, to be totally honest with
you. Yeah.
It's so funny, right? One day, my son, my dad, and myself were out. We were eating. And my son, by the way, everybody, my son's name is Kamari Jr. Some of y'all know that already. We're out eating, and my son is explaining to my dad what he does. And he's like, that's the dumbest thing ever. It's generational, right? Like, who's going to pay you to sit online? So he didn't believe my dad. And my son was a little impatient with him. So we wound up getting into this whole argument about sneakers. And it was at that point that I realized just how powerful this industry was going to be.
Yeah, very, very, very powerful. I'll say for me, the good thing about it is that it's fun for me. I do see some people where it's like it's a little bit too serious. I get concerned over that, you know. For some folks, a little bit too serious, and for me, it's fun. So if I lose out on a shoe, I don't lose any sleep over it or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Some people is a little bit different, and that makes it tough. Sometimes it takes the fun out of it because it's like, dang, like these people are going mad or batty over something, and I'm like, it ain't that heavy, you know.
Hey, but I mean, listen, there are some people I had an Instagram comment that one of their nephews makes a full-time living off this.
Yeah. So, oh yeah.
You know, I get it when that's how people live, that's how people eat.
Yeah.
That's all they want to do.
I mean, you got YouTubers who they have a significant following, they resell, so they kind of use the YouTube platform to also sell to people who subscribe to them, right? And then they got, obviously they have sponsors as a result of it. Some of the shoe cleaning companies, they're big in sponsoring a lot of the YouTubers. So some of these guys, yeah, they make a nice living off of just, providing content every day. And those are the guys that I follow to get information.
Right.
This guy
research.
So interesting enough, talking about like going live. So a lot of these guys go live now because of COVID. They go live when the shoe releases at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Mm-hmm. And they're sharing information on what sites still have pairs available, and it's helping. And this one guy has 1,700 people on his live.
Wow.
Because just this morning, just as I'm driving, I got his live on. Not that I can go in and do anything because I'm driving, but I just want to hear what was transpiring. You know.
Right.
So I see the question on what sizes do you focus on. So a great question, Kim. So I showed you guys the Jordan 1, which was this shoe. At one point, the size to focus on when I first began into the sneaker business was what they call money sizes. So a men's size 7 through 9.5, and a lot of that was because of the Asian market, and they were selling a lot of shoes overseas, and they pay much more for our shoes over there. And because of their shoe sizes are typically in the smaller ranges, those sizes became more popular. But then this is all in the 17 months I've been doing this, and I'll tell you about February of 2020 that shifted. I literally was in a store buying a ton of money sizes, thinking I've made out. My first time being able to secure a bunch of money sizes between that 7 and that 9.5, and it was a pine green Jordan 1, and literally right there, the market just shifted for some reason where bigger sizes became just as valuable as the money sizes. So I would say now in the Jordan 1 size, it doesn't matter anymore. I will say for the GS sizes, grade schools, they are now the money sizes. So yeah. So this shoe here, I had, and this is a learning experience, I had about 4 pairs in grade schools. And I got a constant reminder because my younger son, he had 1 pair and he wears his, and they're all beat up now, but they're going for 500 plus a pair. And you pay less for the grade school. You pay 120 for that, $120 shoe worth 500 plus. And then it's probably going to be a $700-800 shoe. So, so now grade school sizes are what people tend to go grab really quickly. So about a week and a half ago, they came out with these Tokyo Jordan 1s, and they hadn't come out since 2001. They're like all gray with like a hint of silver in them. And locally, they didn't even there weren't many stores in Philly area that had the adult sizes. So I had to buy my adult sizes resale. But the Snipes down at Cheltenham, our old stomping grounds, we can basically say it's home. They had them first come, first serve in grade school. And my wife and I were the first few people in line.
9, right?
Yeah. Say what?
Grade school size 7 to 9.
No, grade school is like what is it, like a 3Y to a 7Y?
And is that boy or girl or both?
That's the boy sizes. So that's the youth. That's the grade school or youth sizes, not men. They're not men's.
Y'all discriminate against the young ladies.
So basically, we got 2 pair. Then we called a family friend who lived close by and said, "Hey, can you go in the store and get another pair?" So those are going to be really profitable. Most grade schools jump up to $400 or $500 really quickly in the Jordan 1 silhouette. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well,
so,
I want to
long-winded answer to that question.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
That was a long-winded answer to that question.
Nah, it's all good. Yeah. All good. Listen, if anybody has any questions for Tu about getting into the sneaker game, what you should be thinking about, how you can go about doing it, feel free to ask them now. But I do want to show this right. So I have a cousin who actually, customizes sneakers, and he does a phenomenal job. And so he made these sneakers for my other cousin. And I just think they're awesome.
Tough times, I hope y'all holding up. We'll be alright, because we always is. But I feel like this.
How many mothers have to cry? How many brothers gotta die? How many more times? How many more times? How many more marches? How many more signs? How many more lives? How many more times? Take a look around. Can you see it now? Don't be colorblind, cause when they're killing mine, they'll try to justify each and every time.
So listen, y'all, that's Remix Kicks, right? So check him out. I have to now get a pair of sneaks, but I don't know which ones to do. I'm trying to think of a theme to do.
Yeah.
I love the top 10s. Those are Adidas top 10s. And when you look at them, right, when you look at the details like they came from a straight manufacturer, but he's doing those by hands. So that's talent. So kudos to Vern. Shout out to Vern. I can't wait to get my pair, but I got to think of a theme. So if anybody has any suggestions, let me know. So Kevin says, funny, I used to paint sneakers back in the day, and I sold in 85. First pair was Nike Cortez. Whoa, that actually would be a good pair of sneaks to do. Painted them burgundy and white. People went crazy for them, so I should have kept up. Hey, man, get back in the game. Some of those childhood things that we used to do and we used to love, and we kind of put them down for real life, they still there. So pick it back up and check it out. Try it out. So again, anybody have any more questions, remember to like, comment, and share. Remember, this is the Finance Rebel Show. We are live every Saturday starting at 11:30. We do our financial recap. Then we have our wealthy conversation. If there's anybody you want me to sit down and talk with, let me know in the comments. Send me a DM. Y'all know last week we talked to Miss Vanessa Braxton, who from Black Mama Tea, Black Mama Vodka. So yes, there's a black woman out there that makes her own vodka. And guess what? I got my shipment yesterday, y'all. So I got 2 bottles of vodka, some tea, some agave. I got a whole bunch of stuff from a black woman who makes vodka and has her own manufacturing facility. Today we're talking about Darren Miller, talking to Darren Miller about.
Send me the info on that vodka though. I love to support that.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. Absolutely. And Vanessa watches the show from time to time, so definitely will get you plugged into that.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the theme I should do. Rebel Kicks. Yeah, but listen, I love that, right? But I had to figure out what am I going to put, like the stock market or, a graph on the side or invest. I got to think that out some more. Last week was lit. Yeah, I got a lot of good feedback on last week's show. Longest show I've ever done. We went for over 3.5 hours. So I was like an Uber marathoner last week. All right, so Ms. Edith, you got your shipment on Thursday as well. All right, so you did better than me. I got mine on Friday. I think y'all women are in cahoots, but it's all good. Wealthy Wednesday sneakers. $ signs on Rebel Kicks. Maybe I'll do like a black capitalist one because, I am a black capitalist. Yeah, I got agave and vodka to Edith. So it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Any other closing questions or two? Do you have anything you want to talk about?
Nah, this is fun. Appreciate being able to finally get on the channel and talk about what I like to talk about. But maybe I'll get on and talk about some other issues separate from sneakers at some point. I kind of enjoy the banter and whatnot. I think it's really, really good for our people and whatnot. So just appreciate you, Kamari, for having a platform and kind of allowing people to jump on and to share multiple, avenues for us to all be successful.
Absolutely. Oh, here's a question. So Wealthy Wednesday is an advertised tax write-off. So is that my theme for my sneaker, Miss Edith? Is that what you're saying? Wealthy Wednesday and advertised, Wealthy Wednesday and tax write-off. Okay. So you know what? Quick question too before you go.
Yeah.
So now you're out there. You're a public figure now officially.
I
know you don't do the socials like that.
Right.
Can we get a YouTube channel? Can we get an IG live?
Yeah. So
I
do have an Instagram page, but I don't populate it much. It's not really my lane. My kids want me to do a YouTube. They said, "Look, you got the background now, and you could just kind of pop on and I don't know, maybe someday."
So here's a suggestion, right? You're a natural at this. So again, I told you all this guy's one of my best friends. His mother was a teacher. He very much has a teacher style. You hear him talking about illustrative, right? He's a smart dude. Do it with your kids. I think it would be a fun dynamic.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of into it now.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's something that I think about. And yeah, maybe so. I won't rule that out. But I knew you had the podcast, and I've always seen snippets, but kind of getting on today is kind of is invigorating. So I appreciate you having the forum and what you do, and hopefully the channel can continue to grow because we need it, especially the subject matter that you're talking about. And I think there's a lot to talk about when we talk about Black wealth and finance and where we can go as a people. But we all got to be willing to listen to the discussion. And I think, it's good to talk about things like, sometimes the complexities of finance and wealth can be really overwhelming for our people, right? But then sometimes you break it down to something that's so monotonous as sneakers. Some people may look at it as being materialistic and things of that nature. And I don't disagree with some of those thought processes, but flip side of it is that, like, when you look at it in a wealth building space and how it can be beneficial, you can take something that's culturally ours, right, and say, hey, look, this is something people value, and they talk about sometimes Black people being materialistic. We can take ownership of that material, and make something for ourselves. Because there's a lot of people jumping into our space and making something of it that aren't our complexion.
So when you say our space, what exactly?
I mean, to me, I think, originally when you go back to the sneaker piece and the Jordans, it was an urban thing. Most people from an urban perspective, I'll talk about these Bel Airs, right? I mean, it was Will Smith wearing them on the Fresh Prince show, but his character was this urban character, right? No one else had his style. He played that character, right? That was coming from an inner city, so on and so forth. So I think that originally, when you talk about our generation in the 80s, when these sneakers came about, most people, I'm not going to say that other people didn't buy Jordans, but it was a very, very urban thing. That was a thing. Go back to Spike Lee.
I was thinking that.
And they stepped on the Jays. Remember the guy in the Larry Bird jersey? He stepped on the ball, Jays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I think that was do the right thing.
Yes,
I was watching it like a couple months ago, and I was just laughing because I said to my kids, like, C's got on some Jordan 4s, and he told them don't step on my shoes, and he had a scuff mark on them. So, it was, and then Spike Lee was in the commercials with Mike. I mean that was very much something that we had ownership of, and and then like anything else, it's gotten sensationalized, and yeah, it's got, and I'm in a regular line to go get a pair of shoes, and I don't camp out for hours on hours and not like that, but sometimes I might wait an hour for a shoe or whatever, but I don't consider that lengthy. But I'm there, and the kid, he's got his laptop and he's botting while he's out there. So this is some high tech kid, he's not
a Black kid, I'm assuming.
Right. And I don't have anything against it. I'm saying that, like, there's space for us in every medium. So again, this is all back to you having a platform. And I think the diversity in the platform is really, really important, because sometimes, for all of us, the financial piece can be overwhelming to some degree. So if someone's got a company and they make vodka, and it's like, well, okay, great, that's inspiring. Maybe that works for somebody, whatever. So I think the platform is important. So I just wanted to say I'm happy that I know you, and I got a really good friend that's doing this and putting that energy into it. Very, 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 very proud of you, bro.
Thanks, sir. But since you brought up the podcast, right, I do want to show everybody real quick that the podcast has been launched. We got over 20 episodes. Actually, yesterday launched the 20th episode of the Finance Rebel Show. So do me a favor, everybody. Y'all know I don't ask for much, but do me a favor, go over there, There are some episodes you have not heard. Check them out. Rate, comment, and review them. 5-star reviews only if you like it. If you like it, right? I'm not going to press upon that on y'all. And then share it. I'm getting great feedback on that, especially around some of the LLCs. There's credit conversations. I really try to have in-depth conversations, right? Not too superficial, but fun all at the same time. Because I believe that, a lot of times we have conversations, but they're really superficial. And you can't really get to the heart of the matter. And you can't then use those things for your betterment. So the show is all about betterment, but having fun at the same time. And everything doesn't necessarily have to be super duper heavy. Like we talked about vodka last week. We're talking about sneakers this week. And I'll always try to just talk about things that are interesting. And like Toot said, right? I talk about consumerism, but we're all consumers. The question is, how do we balance that playing field?
Mhm.
How do we add some producership or some investorship to our consumerism so that we can become capitalists as well and make more and more money.
Yep.
So everybody, if you got an Apple or you got an Apple phone or an iPhone, you can find my show in the podcast store. If you are not on that, you can find it in Spotify. You got an Android on the Google Play, and also Stitcher. So do me a favor, check it out, share it, like it, and comment. Thank you. So, all right, we got a kudos here for you. Kudos for involving your children in the hobby and business. Yeah, to me, that's like the coolest aspect of it all.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I'll say that now it's to the point where they readily ask me like, so what are we doing for this drop? What size should I get and all these different things. So it's really fun.
Hey, John, how you doing? Thanks for joining us today. So I'm gonna say this right, and we'll end the show because I don't want to keep Toot here all day.
No, I'm good, Kamari. You got.
I see people talk about getting your kids involved in business, right, and training them up so they don't have to be employees. And I get it, and it sounds cute, but at the end of the day, I'm a product of a family-owned business. I hated it, and it's no knock to my dad. But what would it have been like for me? And I'm super appreciative to my dad at the same time, so I want to be clear about that. But what would it have been like for me if my dad was involved in a business that I was really excited about? How much more could that love been fostered and cultivated? And so right now they have a business that is a family business. Toot calls it a hobby, but they're making money. They're doing commerce. What funner thing to do than to do something you love, have fun with it, and make money? I think more children would definitely resonate with that than just doing something that's not fun.
Let me share an example too that's very tangible, right? So there was a drop the other week, and I told you my wife and I got up and we went and got these shoes, and my two sons were lazy and they stayed in bed and they didn't get up. And we were the first people in line, and we said, well, had you guys been there, you guys would have gotten us 2 more pairs of shoes, and the shoes are already selling for over $100 over retail on the resale market. So, you cost us 200 and some bucks by staying in bed. So they're understanding the gains and the losses by their actions.
Right.
And
now, do you pay them at all for any of this?
Yeah, I make sure they understand. As soon as I walked in, I said, you guys stayed in bed, and here's what transpired. We lost because you guys didn't want to get up. And sometimes that's just the big difference, getting up and going to go do what you got to go do. Showing up
is the big part. But do you pay them at all? Do they get a
So they have their own money. So like a lot of times, if it's like a first come first serve, I'll let them go ahead. So this shoe here, they bought their own pairs, and I just sell them on my account, and then I just pay them out pay them out their money.
Oh, so they're young entrepreneurs too then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So or like this shoe here, they didn't buy theirs. I said, they went and did the raffle for me, and then I just like so those are all mine. So they didn't do anything with that one, but yeah, they'll do their own here and there and make some money. And that's the whole part of it.
Right.
So they can see some value in making a few bucks.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, John, thanks for that. I know your son is into rapping, hip hop, and all that, so he definitely will probably resonate with this. All right, everybody, we are going to bounce. But again, last ask, please go like, listen, and review the Finance Rebel Show on iTunes. iTunes is like the center of the universe when it comes to podcasting. Do me a favor. Again, go listen to it. There's some other episodes that you haven't heard, and comment and review it for me. I appreciate you all. Toot, I appreciate you.
Hey,
Thanks for coming on. This is a conversation long overdue.
Yeah.
And I would love to get you back as sports season talks or comes online. Actually, he's my guy. I used to follow sports, right? So follow me. I used to follow sports heavy. Knew all the stats, all that. Don't do it so much anymore. Toot has always done that since we were little kids. So definitely got to get you back on to talk about some of these upcoming sports contracts. Some of the other things that's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
That'll be fun.
All right, everybody. I will see you next week. Be sure to like, comment, and share this out with all your friends and family who are interested in business, making money, and increasing their overall financial IQ. Thanks again, and everybody have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.